live.
Okay, it's off.
There
Damn
we go.
copyrights.
Hey guys,
Sweet.
welcome back to another episode of the Crypto Campfire podcast. This is the professor.
And Mitch.
And today we've got Girl Gone Crypto for a nice live stream on this fine coronavirus-filled Sunday.
Damn straight.
How's it going, Lee? How are you doing today?
I'm great. I don't have coronavirus. It's a perk. Doing good. Just hanging out, not leaving my house, but doing lots of live streams and stuff like this with people like you. So it's great.
It's been a good day. It's been a busy one. We had Didi Taihutu on for a pre-recorded interview a few hours ago, and might possibly be doing another live stream with Kyle Kemper later today or next tomorrow. So he's on self-quarantine at the time being. But just wanted to fire up a live stream. We'll talk to everybody and kind of see how things are going. So, however, in the traditional campfire fashion, let's take this back a step. And why don't you tell us about how you got into
Well, before we do that, if you guys haven't noticed, we're all on the moon. We figured this was definitely like the most sterile place we could potentially be today. So we're all on the moon. Come on up. It's good. It's good weather up here. We love it.
Yeah, we're having fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was so fun when we you guys fired up your Zoom, and I was like, I have that same photo. Let's all hang out on the moon together.
That's great.
So my backstory of how I got into crypto, it's actually kind of a funny story that involves a ukulele, but I got into crypto about 3 years ago through a social blogging platform called Steemit. And so I just kind of stumbled across it. And honestly, I'd never really made content before, but I'd been kind of doing some different music covers for fun. And I was like, oh, well, I could post that on there. And then I made like $100 in crypto. And I was like, what? Like, what is this? And so it really just kind of led me down the rabbit hole of being like, but why is this worth anything? And now what do I do with it? And what is this thing called an exchange and what private keys? And so having my first little bit of crypto in my hands is what I think really kind of piqued my interest to learn more, because I'd heard of crypto before. I actually I have friends that have been miners since like 2011. Have been telling me to buy Bitcoin for years, and I wish I'd listened to them back then, but yeah, I really got into the space kind of early mid 2017, so I got to go through the whole big bull run last time. And I just actually started Girl Gone Crypto about 6 months ago, so that's been a really fun ride.
So how's it like just trying to be 100% in crypto? You having fun with that?
It's awesome. And I'm not 100% in crypto yet. Actually, I work in the tech industry, so I've still got a day job, if you will. But
right.
It's a lot of fun. Obviously, it's a fun place to hang out, or else I wouldn't be, right? Like, it's just, there's a lot of great people like you guys, and getting to go to crypto conferences and getting to meet people. It's really a great community.
It really is. There's so much amazing things happening, and it's all the people that you come together with, and it's just like a big family, right? You start meeting all these new friends, and then it's like you can't go away. You're stuck in here, and that's it. They pull you in, and you're hooked, and that's the end of it. So I don't know. Sometimes it ends up in a podcast.
That's just it. It's the family that we've created for ourselves with so many amazing people within this space, and that's what gives me energy to keep going, because you got to admit, sometimes when you're in that bear market or you get hit with this crap like the coronavirus or whatever else that happens in life, it's hard to stay, on fire, so to speak. It's hard to stay positive sometimes. And, having other people to impact really helps like fuel my fire, you know what I mean? And keep that drive going. So it's definitely been an experience.
And I even think that during this bear market, like, I think we've become more tight-knit, even as a community. Like, the people that are here right now, like, I feel like I've really gotten to know a lot of other people that are, running YouTube channels and podcasts and things like that. And I think that's going to be really fun to have those strong relationships moving forward when we do have another big bull run and there's all these new people in the space coming into the market, which is great, which is what we want. But it's nice to have this kind of foundation now.
Mitch Cat says you need to pay attention.
What?
Apparently you're not paying attention.
Wait,
Ollie,
what'd
what's
I
going
do?
on? I don't know. She's on YouTube telling you better pay attention, so you better listen.
Oh, okay.
Polly, yes, you're right. Live is how it should be. We decided that it was time to make it happen. It's so cool to have you guys here talking with us while we're doing an interview. So
I want to see. I got to find it.
Gosh. Well, you can just go to the YouTube channel and it'll be streaming there.
I know. That's what I'm working towards right now. Just too many things for this carpenter mind of mine.
Minor detail. I got like 12 windows open trying to bounce between YouTube and Periscope
and
exactly. Restream and Zoom.
But you're used to that, I'm used to having like 10 things going on my assembly table and stuff. But
see, I'm used to doing it with I have a screen here and a screen here and a screen here, but I've got one single 15-inch laptop on here right now.
Same.
I've got everything in little tiny windows.
We're so behind the curve.
It's funny. Such an old guy. I love it.
Oh my God.
It's truth.
Okay, so I got to ask you, same thing that we asked Dee Dee this afternoon. What specific aspect of being a kid do you miss the most?
Ooh, I like that. Probably not having bills. I don't know.
I would agree. Yeah.
But I think just in general, it's actually, I'd say like where I'm kind of trying to move my life more towards again, but that feeling of like, you can wake up, in like a summer morning as a kid and you're like, what do I want to do today? And I'm like, I want my life to be like that every day, like in my normal adult life. So I think that's kind of where like being an entrepreneur and being self-employed is actually, it's pretty cool. Like you have a lot of things to do, obviously, but you have more choice over how you spend your time, which I think is how it should be.
Yeah, it's a lot more fun that way. It's nice to not have bills being a kid and all that, but it's true. It's that you can take that time and apply it to something else and maybe make some change and start putting everything together and learning more stuff. That's the thing that I love most about it, especially the way the world is now. And you have things like Udacity and Coursera, and we're moving more and more to these digital education platforms. You can just find something new and sit down for a week or two and dive 100% into it and learn something totally new that you never would have had exposure to before. I love it. And with VR, it's just going to take it all to the next level too. I'm excited to see what the future of VR looks like for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. I have an Oculus Quest, and that's really fun to be playing around. I don't know if you guys have seen that much, but actually like doing the Beat Saber, like it's almost like a workout. I don't know if you guys have played that, but it's really fun.
I haven't played it, but I've seen it. I watched Adam Savage do his one day builds or whatever, and he did custom lightsaber handles for the game controllers for it. So
oh no way.
Yeah, he put them on the lathe and made them all out of aluminum and everything. It was pretty sick.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
So you consider yourself an influencer or a crypto advocate?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't really like the word influencer. I think to me, influencer, like it almost sounds like, not deceptive is the wrong word, but it's kind of like, I will influence you. Like, I don't know. It's like got a weird vibe to me. So I'm just here making content. And if people like it, hopefully they'll choose to hang out with me. And if they don't, that's cool. But yeah, that's kind of my approach, is definitely an advocate. That's a great word. But I'm just happy if people like my content and they decide to follow along. That's great. Hopefully that means they're finding some sort of value or entertainment or both out of it.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And that's a big key right there is, we just want to inspire people, really, at the end of the day, and doing so, there's a lot of fulfillment to be had in that regard. I put out a tweet the other day, just go out there and make somebody smile. Just make somebody smile, make somebody laugh. It doesn't matter. It could be a perfect stranger. It could be someone, but you could change the outcome of somebody's day simply by just making them smile. And sometimes they just remember that, like they could be having the worst day ever, but you did something or said something and it just made their day complete, and those are the kind of things, the little things that mean the most. So I
love that. And that's a good reminder right now while everyone is kind of on fire and things are crazy.
Right. It was funny. I went to Sam's Club today and there was this line. I got there, they open at 10 in the morning. So I got there right at 10 o'clock and there was a line of about 50 people to get in the door and they were only letting 3 people in at a time. And I'm like, Really? What's going on? Well, somebody in the line had said that apparently there was riots and stuff, or people fighting in the store over freaking toilet paper and shit.
Oh
And
yeah.
I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So then they started, restricting how many people they would let in at a time. But they were cleaned out of so many different things. And it's like, I seen this one person, they had like probably the last 3 cases of toilet paper on their cart. And I just looked at them and I'm like, really? And I just kept walking, shaking my head, and it's crazy how people that aren't educated about what's going on, they only hear what the news and what other people are saying, and they're not really as into it. I don't care what anybody says. Anybody that's in crypto has a lot more variety to what they're in tune with, right? And different information that most people don't see. So I guess that to me, it kind of gives us an edge. At least I feel like it does myself, because I'm not in a panic. I'm not, yeah, that's something to worry about, but not worry about, I guess. I feel it's more something to prepare for. But, preparation and being prepared for anything is key. For sure.
And there's a balance between preparing and panicking too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I hope so.
You would think, but apparently there's not these days. Motherfuckers out there eating toilet paper sandwiches through the apocalypse. So
toilet paper. Well, don't you have washcloths and a damn washer and dryer? For God's sakes! If push comes to shove, wash your ass.
Well, you're the real visionary on this, considering you installed a bidet like weeks before this all happened.
Hey,
so
don't knock my bidet. That was we got that at Christmas time, and that thing is the bomb. Let me tell you.
I told my wife that if it ever comes down to it, I'll make my own. It'll be a little redneck. It'll be water hose, and I've got a pressure washer out the back.
Sink sprayer and hooked up to his toilet.
Just extend the hose on the shower head. We'll be good to go.
I feel like that's a viral tweet waiting to happen. Just a photo of that contraption.
Yeah, right.
Right. Maybe I shouldn't make it. I don't.
Probably not.
It's not. Pressure washer is only 11 horsepower. It's not going to hurt too much.
Oh no! Don't try this at home, kids.
Yeah, right. Don't try this at home. Give the whole new meaning to the word bloody ass.
Jesus Christ.
Oh shit, I didn't just say that. Anyways,
okay, so what is your absolute favorite thing about crypto and or this movement, quote unquote?
Oh, so actually it's funny that you just said quote unquote, because I would say that it is the fact that to me it feels more like a movement as well. Like it's not just the latest thing in tech, and it's not just some investment strategy. Like ultimately, long term, I feel bullish, and I hope that it ends up being this really awesome investment strategy that I made. But for me, just kind of from my philosophical standpoint, I feel like Bitcoin lines up so much better than what our current monetary system is. I mean, look at the Federal Reserve. They just printed another $1.5 trillion. And people are like, oh, thanks for trying to save us. And it's like, no, don't you realize that devalues our dollar? And so I think for me, like long term, Bitcoin just makes a lot more sense. And in just like, again, from a philosophical standpoint, I just think that it lines up better with my values as well.
Most definitely. And it's, going beyond the currency, blockchain has so much potential and so much power and so many alternative use cases to just currencies too. So it's such a hard fight, because the first application of this data structure was currency, and it was something that was challenging the institutions that are already in place. If it came out with just a new technology for managing supply chains, it probably wouldn't have been such a struggle to get it to be adopted this hard. But as soon as you start doing it in a way that starts to undermine some of the existing systems, it makes it more of a struggle. And that's a good thing, because it starts making more people look at it. And that's how all these people got into crypto, was because of money. Because if it was another type of database, 99% of the world wouldn't have given a shit. It's a new type of money, and that's an exciting and an important thing. So it's good. It's just, it's funny to look at the difference in how it played out because of how it started.
And I saw a quote from Catherine Wu that I really liked recently, where she was talking about, like it was kind of asked, it was actually in the Lolly Women's Day video that I was in. And, the question was, where do you see the industry going in the next 10 years? And she's like, well, you don't really hear people say that they're an internet company anymore, because that just like, that sounds weird. That just kind of makes sense. She's like, right now, I think that most companies, irrelevant of what industry they're in, are trying to become tech companies. And then the next stage is they'll be crypto companies. It'll just be common practice that they'll have that in their kind of business strategy and the way that they operate. And I thought that was a really interesting point, just seeing the evolution that maybe soon we won't say tech companies because everyone will be kind of a tech company. Then eventually we won't say crypto companies. So, or blockchain.
Yeah, that's a really
companies.
good point too, because I mean, you'll start getting to the point where you have these corporate blockchains, or, at least decentralized ones from like a Bitcoin standpoint, that are actually really well used and well distributed. And at that point, you can actually have companies start jumping on them and know that they're stable and know that they're secure and start using them for other things. And that's the point in time where it just becomes part of the tech. Because right now, you don't, like you say, it's not internet companies anymore. Before, if you used the internet, you were an internet company. It was like this prestigious thing. Like you're a pioneer. You found the internet. And now, like you say, we've got blockchain companies. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm excited for the future. It's going to be so awesome.
So now we're crypto pioneers.
Crypto pioneers. We are just
we're
on the moon.
We're still so early. Yeah, we are on the moon. I got stars on my side.
Or your shoulder.
A dumb dad joke. Yeah. Over my shoulder. Who would you say has been your largest influence in the crypto space, and why?
So, I mean, from an education standpoint, and someone that I've gone to really dive deep on information, I'd have to say it's been Andreas Antonopoulos. But from a kind of, I don't know, hashtag goals, like someone that I really look up to, that I'm like, I would love to emulate that person and be more like them. I have to say it's Naomi Brockwell. I love her. I love that she's so like on top of it. Her content is so good, but she's got this kind of bright, fresh energy that she brings to the crypto space. And I just love that kind of mix of it being fun, but really professional, and just kind of upbeat, but also, totally factual and all like really great content. So anyway, I'm just a huge fan of her work. And so if I had someone that I was maybe looking up to in the space as someone that I wouldn't mind being more like, it would probably be her.
Awesome.
That's a good one. Cool. When we were starting to work with Anarchapulco and we were going to be doing some interviews for him this year, that a lot of that actually didn't happen because we weren't able to make it to the event this year, unfortunately. But she was on the top of our list when we were picking out people we wanted to interview because, like you say, her content is just amazing. She's an awesome person. She's smart as all hell.
And so nice. Like when I met her in person at World CryptoCon for the first time, like I've been following her for years, but I actually finally got to meet her, and you could tell she was exhausted. Like she had just been emceeing and then she's flying the next day, and she still like totally gave me the time to chat for a few minutes. And I just was so impressed by her. So
100%. Mitch, we have a problem.
Uh-oh.
Clint Westwood has identified our moons as false. And
I know, he said it.
This is a scam.
We are a scam. Breaking news.
We are actively scamming.
We're actively scamming everybody for smiles. Damn it.
Top secret.
You got to smile.
We are in an undisclosed location.
Right?
We have been crypto quarantined.
Definitely a sterile environment. There's no question about that.
Right.
I mean, if you think about it, viruses can't live on the moon. So what a better place to be. You hear that, crypto? Yeah, viruses can't live on the moon.
Yeah, you see where we're going? You got to get there. Hurry up. That's the first place you should go, the moon. Come on, Bitcoin, take the fucking hit.
Take the lead, right? Hell yeah.
Okay, so if you could ask, let's say you ran into 100-year-old person right now and you could ask them one single question, what would it be?
Ooh, let's see. So if they're 100, it's 2020. They were I was going to say, like, when were they kind of like alive? So during the last 20s, it would have been interesting to ask them about the big, 1920s, but they would have been just kind of a baby. So they probably wouldn't have, been able to remember much. But what they probably would have grown up seeing is a lot of the economic impact of what such a big crash did. And I mean, honestly, when we've had economic crashes since then, obviously, 2008, but nothing that was quite on that level. And I think one of the issues that we've had as a modern society is we haven't really allowed these markets and banks and institutions to really crash to the level that they naturally should be. We're artificially inflating it with, printing money and, the Fed buying up stocks and trying to prop up the market and, lowering interest rates and doing all these things. And so I think it would just be kind of interesting to hear their perspective of what it was really like to kind of be in those rebuilding phases and to be growing up in that. And because I think that, I don't know, maybe it would be comforting for some people that, I mean, they survived it. Our, society survived, and that maybe it's better for us to naturally allow the market to go where it needs to go.
Yeah, that's not a bad point there. There's so much stuff that we are manipulating, whether it's, even just the health of people. There's so much stuff that we have developed new systems for that we're manipulating the natural flow of. And maybe that's not a bad thing in the end, but I think in some cases there's certain resets that need to happen. Unfortunately, the market doing what it's doing is not fun, but sometimes it's the natural flow of things, and it is what it is.
Well, that's just it. Fun is what you make it. Life is what you make it, and there's an upside to everything. So, like, the markets could be seriously crashing, but somewhere in this whole sea of virtual shit that we find ourselves in, there's a positive somewhere, and it's just a matter of seeking that out. And I think some of the positives that I've seen lately are crypto projects that are helping those that are less fortunate, and even in these times. So those kind of things, people that are more fortunate than others, that are out there willing to help others that are less fortunate in a situation like this, I think is a definitely a positive that we can pull out. And also the fact that, cryptocurrencies could continue in the route that they're on and eventually replace this broken system that we've been a part of for centuries. Mm-hmm. So, those are my upsides that I can see. And, I don't care how cloudy the day is, the sun's always out there. It's just behind the clouds. So you got to look past those sometimes and not focus so much on what's exactly in front of you, but beyond it.
Yeah, and I think that one group that I do kind of feel for right now are people that are close to retirement. They must be really scared, to see their portfolios tanking. And so that's definitely a group of people that I'm like, man, that's rough, because they've just been investing how they're in, their investor, person told them to, probably for years and years and years. And so I think that coming out of this, hopefully more people, especially, that are kind of like younger and learning about money and learning about investments, will look at crypto and, maybe even precious metals and other things as like alternative forms of investments. But for the people that have put their whole life into kind of the stock market right now, is probably pretty scary for them.
Well, right. And, most people don't live with the mentality like I seem to find myself in, and I think I might need some help for it. But, I look at the market going down and I'm going, yeah, come on, just a little bit lower. I go buy some more, I mean,
sitting there at the bottom of the roller coaster with your bags. What did you
Yeah, exactly. I got all my bags with me, but I want to put some more in them. So go ahead and drop down a little bit. You have to know that everything's going to rebound. Everything that you go through in life is only temporary. I don't care how bad it is, unless it's death. There's nothing more permanent than that, obviously. But I mean, nothing is permanent. Most everything is temporary. So keep that in mind, because once you get through that milestone, once you get through that hurdle, that dip in the road, that, that hard curve or the crack in the bridge, there's the other side of it, and you're going to come out on the other side of it. And I think that's what people need to focus on. Not so much the now, not so much, oh my God, look what happened. No, there's opportunity there. Right. So seize that opportunity, even if it's averaging down, whatever, whether we're talking about the market or just bad things that happen in our lives, regardless of what it is, there's always the other side.
Yep. You got to stay positive. And that's part of the reason why we're wanting to do some more live streams and stuff starting now. You get some live streams together. We've been talking about trying to find a way to do a nice group live stream that just kind of persists for 24/7. People can jump in and chat as they come and please. And
Oh, wow.
we've tossed around the idea of buying some property on Crypto Voxels so we could set up a virtual campfire and everybody can jump in and hang out around the campfire. And
I love that.
I don't know, there's a lot of options, and I think this is a good time to start looking at ways to get together in larger groups than 3 of us on a live stream,
Right.
virtually. And I know there's options, but we got to find one and have some fun with it.
No, I love that. And I think especially, you know, a lot of people I think are just starting to self-quarantine. Like I've been kind of self-quarantining myself for a few weeks now, but you know, I think that as people are starting to maybe get like a little bit like antsier, a little bit like, oh man, I miss being around people, live streaming, connecting with people, chatting, hanging out. That's a great way to still connect with other people without having to leave your house. Like I'm doing way more phone calls and Zoom calls and stuff like that with friends than I ever have before, you know, and it's pretty cool.
And to look at characters in life rather than characters in type, it's a little bit different, right? We communicate, look at each other and, you know, and smile and share that warmth, share that feeling that we're having that day. And in a group setting where, you know, because we're all friends and we're all in this together. So we can share each other's burdens and share each other's joys just the same. So that's, you know, I'm really glad and excited and happy that we did this today, you know, and how everything works out. You know, like my friend, my good friend Clint Westwood always says, the universe will provide. We just got to go with its plan because it already has a plan. So we're just going with that plan, you know, letting it happen. I love it.
And also, you're not alone. Oh, sorry.
No, go for it.
I was just gonna say, I know you were saying, you know, Mitch, that you're like, gosh, what's wrong with me? I'm like, woo, it's dipping. I'm with you. I just want to let you know that you're not alone. I'm like,
thank you.
All right, like I'm ready to. I'm like laddering my orders down.
Did you see how low that went? Give me 2 of them. You know, like...
I know. That's why when people are like freaking out, I'm like, this is just gives me more time to accumulate. Like and I think that really speaks to like the strong belief in the future of this asset class, right? Exactly. That we really truly see the long-term value. I mean, it's possible that we're all wrong, but you know, like the fact that we're not stressed and in fact, we're like, sweet, we get to buy more. I think there's no other asset class probably out there right now where people are doing that. I mean, maybe, but it's a very noticeable difference in the crypto community.
Absolutely. You know, and especially with that mindset, those that have that mindset are just, it seems like we're happier than those that don't, you know, just overall.
All right. So we got to ask you what your favorite genre of music is, but it's 2-sided here. So what's your favorite genre of music while relaxing and your favorite while partying?
Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah. So to be honest, my favorite genre of music is like 90s grunge. I'm like, give me Nirvana, give me Pearl Jam, like give me Live, like
Eddie Vedder action.
Yes. And so that would be, but then when you said party and relaxing, that I kind of feel like party, I might be a little more top 40 because that's got kind of like a fun vibe to it. Relaxing, I don't know. I really love classical music. I mean, I was a band nerd growing up, so I play a few instruments and do things, and I really love classical music.
Yeah, I was in band too, and I don't really miss those days, but at the same time, I got so much out of those days that, I mean, I actually probably wouldn't be with my wife today if I hadn't taken band in high school. So I guess I'm so happy that I was in band. It was the best thing.
That's perfect.
Right.
We did get to go to Seattle. That was a cool trip. Seattle and Disneyland and some of the band trips. But I played the oboe because it was the first instrument I could make music out of in 5th grade at the music store. And then that was just, I kicked myself for several years for choosing that. I did saxophone for a pet band, but I couldn't. I couldn't convince anybody to let me actually get a saxophone and stop playing the oboe. But
those instruments are expensive,
right? Sure, especially the double reed. That oboes were like $2,000-$3,000. Like, and that was not even an expensive one.
Oh man, yeah, I played the flute, so that was I know, typical, right? I feel like so basic.
wind instruments, you know, it's just something about them.
I know. Actually, it's funny because I didn't touch my flute for like years and I couldn't believe it. I picked it up like a few years ago. And even though I couldn't remember any of the notes, my fingers just started playing it. Like it was just muscle memory.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's kind of fun because my younger sister, she plays the violin. And so sometimes we'll do flute and violin duets because they're instruments. They're both key of C instruments. So we can share music and it's actually really fun. So it's been kind of cool to bring that back into my life every once in a while.
That's awesome.
That sounds
do either of
amazing.
you guys do vocals at all?
Yeah, neither of us are like that great, but we, you know, we have fun with
Enough,
it.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm waiting for a flute and violin Bitcoin song, just saying.
Right.
Ooh. All right. We might have to think about that.
Yeah, sometimes it's just getting out there and letting it flow, you know. I mean, not a lot of people have tone and can, you know, hear tone. Like I'll sing something and my daughter will look at me like, Dad, God, just no, just
Don't
no,
do that.
you know. But I'm like, what? It sounds good, you know. And I'm jamming in the shower or whatever, you know.
They get
You
over
gotta
it. It's
have a
their
song
problem.
in your heart, and when you have a song in your heart and you can walk through the day just singing, it's like, you know, I've had guys like, man, why are you so happy? I'm like, what? I'm just singing, man. You got to have a song in your
It's
heart.
because I got
you
a
know?
bag full of Litecoin. That's why. I'm so
Right?
happy.
Oh, yeah.
And I just bought more for $35. Of course I'm happy.
Damn straight.
Benzo, what's going on, man? Benzo joined us, just got
Yeah,
up.
he's getting ready to go into work.
Little Australia action happening. It's gonna be I don't
We
know. I
got
kind of want
Polly
to trade some weather action because it's
didn't
like
sound
3
right.
degrees and a bunch of snow and it's warm in Australia but also I don't want fires and shit, but I don't know. I'm ready to get rid of the snow. It's spring. Why do we have to have coronavirus and winter?
Right?
Wow.
We got Red Cat Life on, and we have Benza, we have Polly P. I don't see Nana. I don't know if she made it. Litecoin Lisa. And yeah, there's 8 people on the chat right now. So hello
Fun
everyone.
crew.
Thank you for joining. We're having a lot of fun here, and we hope you guys are too. You know, we're doing this today to just spread some positivity and talk to an amazing person in this space and share her story with everybody in case, you know, for whoever doesn't know her. And even for those that do, you know, it's just sharing time, hanging out with each other and enjoying company. So thank you all for showing up. This is definitely a lot of fun. And I have a question for you, Leah. What I hear you're into Vibravid, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what are your thoughts on their platform and what makes them important to the way we view and share content?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's I like how they're approaching things a little bit differently. So there's obviously a lot of platforms out there, a lot of alternative decentralized platforms. I'm on, you know, quite a few of them. Of course, Steam, you know, I've mentioned that earlier, you know, that's kind of where I got my start. So I've been really active on there for years. But one thing that I think is kind of cool about Vibravid is the way they're changing the ad revenue model. So right now, you know, with YouTube, you know, YouTube is getting by far the biggest cut of, you know, any kind of ad revenue that comes in. And so I like that Vibravid's kind of long-term vision and plan is to give that not only to the creator, but and to help support the platform, but also to the end user. You know, I think that we're going to see a lot more attention-based rewards. You know, obviously the Brave browser, the BAT token has been very popular. You know, there's other things out there that are kind of using that same attention model. And I think that's the future. So I think that's smart that they're setting themselves up to kind of reward viewers as well. So yeah, it's I post kind of sporadically on there, but it's I think that it's really cool what they're building, and I think they've got a good team and it's a good platform so far.
I think rewards are amazing, and you're seeing more and more and more of those on a daily basis when it comes to different things in life. You know, you use this card and you get rewards back for money that you spend there, or you shop at this store and you use their shopper's card and you save points, and you can use those points for things. And same with listening to content. Instead of Instead of people always being taken from, they're given back something. And it doesn't have to be a lot, but I mean, if I have a choice between using this or using this, and I get points or I get money or I get merchandise back for using this, I'm definitely going to use this over that. Right. And, you know, I think one of the biggest things is content, and how, like you said, YouTube's taking most of that money, most of that revenue from your content, from the people that you bring on. And why should they be the ones reaping all that benefit versus you? You're the one doing the work. There was something that was said by the president recently, as far as the taxes go, and talking about how it would be cool to have where the workers can basically get all their income instead of having to pay a tax, even if it was just for a year. So, you know, instead of just, we were talking earlier about the economy, you know, so instead of just pumping money into the economy, let people hold and keep what they earn. Right. So now that would be a double thing, because you're not only, you're giving them more incentive to go out there and work, but you're also giving them everything that they're earning. So that to me seems like a win-win and a good way to put some spark back in. I don't know how in the hell I got onto that side of the political side of that, but it just happened, you know, it just went with the flow. But
I think that's actually a really interesting point, and something that I have always laughed at when people are like, oh, my tax return, I got so much money. And I'm like, no, that was your money already. Like, come on, like, think about this, guys. And so I've been kind of doing something like what you're just talking about pretty similarly for years, where I, you know, kind of take out I don't do as much in terms of deductions throughout the year, so that I can hold on to my funds and actually invest it throughout the year in a smarter way. I think the reason why most employers and people and things, you know, they deduct so much is because they can't really count on people to save up to pay their taxes. And so it's almost like they need to like trick them into it, so then they get like $1,000 back or something, instead of being like, oh, here's an $8,000 bill. So if you are going to have that model, you have to be saving and preparing for that, but the average person probably wouldn't. And so I would imagine that's kind of why the system is the way that it is right now.
Yeah, and that's another thing that blockchain kind of enables going forward, you know, real-time payments, more or less. And you start talking about real-time salaries and real-time taxation. I mean, because taxes, let's be honest, they're not going to go away. No. But as soon as you can get that real-time thing in there, you don't have that weird issue where you have to make up for it, or you have to try and plan ahead. You know, it just happens all at once. You get your money as you work, you know, or as you're doing whatever it is, or whether it's your Uber going out there and delivering groceries for people, whatever it is that we're doing in 10 years, it's all going to be in real time. We're not going to have to worry about filing taxes at the end of the year. It's just all going to happen because it's all encoded onto a system. So,
well, let's look at it this way, you know, from an individual standpoint, right? You have an income that you make, and then you have expenditures of that income, right? So if money starts getting tight, or if you want to save more money, what's the first thing you do? You cut back on things that you're spending. You cut back on things that you don't necessarily need, right?
Right.
If we did that same philosophy, if the government took that same philosophy and shrunk itself, right, to where it was a smaller entity and didn't need as much capital to operate on, what would that do? That would make our taxes be less, right? The government would be able to survive on less tax income from the people. And also they could survive on tariff income from trading with other countries. So there's things that can be done, but I think everybody in government, most everybody in government, and even most people in the world today are so self-centered, and everybody's thinking about their own bottom line instead of, you know, what can I do for me, instead of what can I do for everyone. And if it starts here, if we can all think about what we can do for everybody, that's going to benefit me, it's going to benefit everyone. So, you know, what can we do that benefits everyone and not just the hierarchies? And, you know, that method of thinking, I think, is something that really needs to be pushed. And it starts with us, right? It starts with individuals, and individuals can make the change. And I probably sound like I'm beating a dead horse when it comes to, you know, changing how we think, but it's so true. And as soon as we can change that, that's the first step in changing everything else. So
to
enough on that. I'm
practice
sorry.
alternative thinking, let's give me 4 alternate uses for a hand mixer other than hand mixing.
Wait, are you asking me or Mitch?
I'm asking you. Maybe we should ask Mitch. Why don't you each give me 2?
Oh, I'm gonna have fun with that one.
I know you are.
Alternative uses for a hand mixer, like something you'd like beat eggs with or something.
Yeah, okay, so let's do one of the two blade hand mixers. Let's call it one of those guys.
Oh gosh, I must not be very creative. I although now I'm thinking about making cookies, which is making me hungry.
What kind of cookies?
Ooh, chocolate chip. I'm just like classic chocolate chip all the way.
Oh yeah.
With
You gotta
walnuts?
No, what the fuck is wrong with you? Did you just say walnuts?
You know what? I love walnuts. So
oh my God. I hate
especially in my
walnuts so much.
chocolate chip cookies. I mix them up like almost a powder. I put them in the blender and powder them up and mix it in with the cookie dough. And it's like, it flavors the whole thing and you don't have those stupid nuts to chew on, but whatever.
I would rather just eat chocolate chip cookies and then you have to taste walnuts.
Whatever. I'll put yours without walnuts.
Thanks. You
All
have to
right.
because Rhonda's definitely allergic to them.
Well, yeah, there is that.
Minor detail.
Oh
Polly says free donuts will benefit everyone. I agree.
Hell yeah, it would.
I agree. All right. So you got any uses for a mixer?
no. All right, Mitch, you're up.
All right.
Mitch is up.
So the first use for a mixer obviously is mixing stuff, right?
I
The
said
second
other than
thing.
mixing stuff. That doesn't count. So sorry.
All right, so that doesn't count. We could use it for a piece of artwork.
No, you
We
stole
could-
Justin Vendetta's answer. That
I
doesn't
did.
count.
You know, can we modify this thing? Are we allowed to modify it at all?
Totally. You could modify it all you
so
want.
I would modify it and put little tabs on it to catch the wind, and I'd use it for a lawn ornament.
Nice.
And it would probably help keep the squirrels away from the garden because you'd have this spinny, flashy thing.
Perfect. Perfect.
All right, what else? You could use it for. Okay, I know the older generation will remember this movie Stripes. Anybody seen Stripes with Bill Murray?
Oh,
And the
it's been a
Aunt
while.
Jemima treatment.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
he
Long
pulls
time
out
ago.
the spatula and the mixer. Yeah, okay. So it can be used for that. And also, okay, last thing you could use a mixer for.
I don't know. I think
A
Sarge wins this
conversation
one.
piece.
Yeah, that was also Justin's answer.
I have a weird response. Are you guys ready for this?
Absolutely. The weirder
Okay,
the
so
better.
my neighbor's cat likes to jump the rails of our balcony, and which must endanger its life on a regular basis because it is a long drop. It is a brave cat. But it likes to come and scratch our screen door, which is super annoying. So I'm always like in the door, be like, get away, come on, And so I have a hard time scaring this cat away sometimes. Not that I want to, I love cats, but I don't like the damage it likes to inflict on my screen door. So I wonder if like the noise of the mixer, if I could like if that would make it just like jump and run.
Might.
You
I don't
what
know.
Works good.
You should experiment
What
with
works
that.
good, and this is a perfect training aid for dogs and cats. I've learned. Take an empty can, an empty pop can, beer can, whatever, your favorite Corona can, and drop some pennies in it. Right, 10 pennies. Put 10 pennies in there. Make sure it's dry. Put 10 pennies in there and tape it up. The first time that cat comes over, whip it at the door. It'll scare the living crap out of it, and it won't do it again. Like my cat wants to run out all the time. So I made, I learned this back when I was training my dogs, so I made up a can and got the pennies in it and he wants to run out the door. So now I whipped it at him one time, hit him in the butt, it didn't hurt him. It scares him because it's light, right? It's just a pop can. Scared the living tar out of him. So now all I got to do is crinkle a can and that sucker just lays down somewhere. Wherever he's at, he just lays down.
It sounds like animal abuse.
I didn't do it.
Fill up the can with pennies and huck it at the cat.
Yeah.
My poor neighbor. I don't know if they're going to appreciate this.
Yeah, every time they go to drink a beer, their cat runs. What the hell's going on? Yeah.
Excuse
Sarge
me,
says that's
officer.
cruel.
I just discovered that my neighbor is throwing Coke cans full of pennies at my cat. I don't.
Full of pennies. It's got 4 or 5 in it. You're killing me here.
Oh my God.
Leave the cat
Mitch is a
alone.
monster. He
Leave the
throws
poor cat
cans
alone.
at cats.
Throw cotton balls. Out of a Nerf gun, just launch cotton balls.
Yeah, like cats don't have enough attitude. Throw a damn cotton ball at them. They look at you like, what the hell?
Maybe a
play
little
with it
spray
forever.
thing, like a little water thing just to start.
works
Maybe
really
that
well.
would be less aggressive than a can of pennies.
Aggressively. All right.
So back on the mixer
Leave it alone.
topic, Polly suggests aerating water, and Sarge suggests an alternative weed grinder. But would it make a mess? Weed all over the kitchen. Yeah. Can you imagine that, trying to grind weed with a mixer?
Yeah, I
It'd
don't
be a
know.
disaster.
I feel like we are full of terrible ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is
right?
we're on the moon. We've got to start thinking outside the box.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't.
We'll
What are
use
we
it
gonna
for
mix? There's
A
just much
moon dust
dirt.
maker.
We don't even have cats to throw penny cans at.
What are we gonna do?
What are we
Yeah,
gonna
exactly.
do? Hold a
Oh,
live
yeah.
stream and tell everybody to come up here with us. That's what.
Does anybody? All right. So does anybody have any questions? Anybody have any questions that they'd like to ask? We'll see. See you
After
later,
the
Benza.
10 to
Have a good
15 second
day.
delay. Take it easy, man. Have fun in Australia. Also, if you could mail me a kangaroo, I would sincerely appreciate that.
That would be cool.
I would.
Oh my
I've told him this before, and he hasn't done it yet, so I'm getting kind of upset.
Right.
Talking about animal abuse a second ago, and you're like, "Can you ship me a kangaroo?" Like, I don't know.
Well, you can ship them in a nice way. You don't have to put them in a box and duct tape the shit.
Oh my gosh. Oh. I love Sarge's comment here in the live stream. He's like, "Poor cat, you're gonna give it a complex."
Yeah. Give me
That's
cat a
true.
complex.
Probably.
It is true.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all right. So let me ask you this: your kid, 3, 4, 5 years old, whatever. You're outside. You live on a street, right? Or you live in a house and you have a sidewalk and it goes to the street. Your child wants to run out into the street. What would be best to say? Oh no, sweetheart, you come sit on the porch. Don't do that, or scare them.
So you're gonna start throwing Coke cans filled with pennies at your kids now, or what?
I'm probably not winning here. I'm going to leave this alone, and we're going to move on.
The FBI is
We are
going to be at your
definitely
door
moving on. Yeah,
tomorrow.
I'll start whipping pennies at my kid. Hey, get out of the street. He's chasing the pennies around, picking them up because he wants all that extra money. Yeah.
I was wondering why you bought that like waist belt that holds beer cans, and now I understand it's actually an ammo belt for you.
Yeah, right.
Oh my god. Oh, so this is why I don't have kids. So I don't have to make these difficult life choices about,
You don't have to make the choice now. You've already been given the answer. You just have to have kids and fill up some Coke cans, and you'll be all right.
That's it.
good to go.
Everybody talks about Coke being a rust remover. They didn't realize it was a cat and child deterrent.
Oh my goodness.
Oh gosh.
This is taking a turn for the worst.
It is. I think it's time.
It's time.
I think it's definitely time.
All right, last question. If you could change the ending to any book you've read, what book would it be, and what would you change the ending to?
Ooh, gosh, that's such a good one. You're asking so many like unexpected questions. I like it.
Heck yeah.
Gosh. Is this a little bit too like political? I don't know. I would rechange the ending to the creature from Jekyll Island, and we wouldn't have a Federal Reserve.
Hey, there we go.
Nice.
There we go.
Love it. I love that. Damn, that was a good question. I must admit,
That's
I'm
an even better
impressed.
answer. Well, don't give me
was.
any credit. You remember what I told you I bought? This
That's right. The cards.
chat pack. Oh, of course, my screen is mirrored. Chat pack for kids. So every once in a while, I'll pull like one question out of this box for an episode, and that happened to be the question from the box from this one. So
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah.
You did
Some good
good,
ones.
kid.
There's some good ones. There's also some really bad ones in there, but like really loaded questions. Like what's the best thing that makes America great and shit like that. Like what? This is the questions for kids, but whatever.
The brainwashing.
Seriously, it's rife with brainwashing.
Oh my God, that's horrible, actually. And you're
It
worried
is.
about a can full of pennies. My
Seriously, it's really all in the question boxes that people are selling at Ace Hardware.
goodness. Oh, stink. Leah, thank you so much for coming on the show today. This was amazing. I had an absolute blast, and we hope you did too. This was great.
I did. You guys are awesome. This was really a lot of fun. So thank you for having me on, and thanks for all the people that joined in the chat. This has just been a really fun addition to my Sunday. Come hang out with you guys.
Good to
It's
hear. We're
been
glad to have
awesome.
you on. This was awesome. It was
Yes,
really fun.
indeed. Thank you again. We'll look forward to another episode for sure down the line here.
Absolutely.
Actually, if you end up doing any on your own, let us know. You know, we'll come on your show.
Ooh, yeah, let's do it. I like it.
That'd be
There you
fun.
go.
We like to be interviewed sometimes too, instead of being the interviewees.
Right?
Or the
It's easier that way.
interviewers.
Less work.
Totally.
Yeah, it is, and we get to absorb the podcast that way.
Yeah, I actually got to listen instead of having to listen back to it. I usually
Yeah.
end up listening like 3 times, but doing the podcast, and then I get bits of it while I'm editing, and then oftentimes we'll listen back again afterwards so we can absorb all of the content that the guest was giving us, because most of the time you can't
Right.
fully absorb their
You
speech.
can't.
Oh, it's so
So,
true. Mhm.
You can't. It's like, wow, I missed that. You
Yeah.
when you're
Oh, how did I
listening to it.
totally miss that?
Or you sit there and go, God, I ramble too much.
Yeah, that's usually what I do. I always ramble.
Same
so
here.
once you just give up and decide, you know what, if they complain about my rambling, that's their own problem. It's a
Yeah.
lot easier.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's gone. It's
Speaking
gone.
of that, we almost have enough content, I think,
Yes,
to do the
that's what I was
bloopers
gonna
episode. May 2nd will be our 1-year anniversary. We're going to drop the bloopers episode on May 2nd. So guys, keep an eye out for that.
You are
This
a
is
mind
going
reader.
all the way back to episode 1. So there's going to be some good shit. We still don't know what we're doing, but we really didn't know what we're doing a year ago. So
Exactly.
it should be packed full of goodies for you.
Damn
Oh,
straight.
Congrats on 1 year, you guys. That's
Thank you.
awesome. That's really exciting.
It's been a hell of a ride. This is exciting, and it's so much fun. And we just started it because 140 characters wasn't enough. And
That's
here
it.
we are. So
I love it.
That's it. Thanks again, Leah, for coming on the show. It's been awesome.
Thank you, guys.
definitely
We'll talk to
take
you
it
soon.
easy. Have a good rest of your week.
You too.
Bye.
Guys, thank you so much for coming on. Thanks for listening. We hope you guys enjoyed it. We do this for the community. We do it for you. This is all about you guys, because without the community and without our friends, without our peeps, we'd be talking to the air. So thank you so much for joining. We hope you enjoyed it, and we look forward to doing many, many more of these. You guys have a great day. Don't sweat the small shit. It's all small shit.
And let's do we're going to do 3 outros here, because I also want to comment on Polly P's comment. He said this should be a weekly event, and I agree. We've discussed about doing weekly live streams and that kind of stuff. And I think we need to start making this happen, especially in the current situation where we're going to have a lot of people stuck at home looking for stuff to do. So hopefully you guys can count on us for some good entertainment.
That's right. And kind of like a Visa card, how many rolls of toilet paper do you have in your closet?
And how many outros can we append to the end of this podcast?
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, shit. Have a good day, guys.
All right.
We'll
Take
talk
it
to
easy,
you soon.
everybody.
Peace.
See ya.